thing goes pop, pop, tap, tap, tap. Skitty king pop, pop. And the poop, poop, boom. Skia. Boom, boom. Boom, boom. Yo. God. The thing goes
Welcome to Fantasy and Chill Week 15. I'm your quarterback, Ryan Keller, joined by Ethan Hargrave.
Feels good, man.
Feels good. And producer Matt.
I saw it, dude. It's been a rough week for me, but
yeah, I'm just gonna lead off the show with Matt. I'm sorry. I know it was a roller coaster of a matchup for you.
No, it was. It wasn't even just that, too. It's we both fucking lost our asses at the casino right beforehand.
That's true. That didn't help.
And
at least I got a little bit of joy Sunday night where you just went like full suicide mode.
Yeah. Well, we've already discussed this, but the fact that a team that shouldn't be in the championship made it to the championship.
So for those that don't know, me and Matt played first round of the playoffs. We are a standard scoring league. Matt put up 137 first week. I put up 110. Second week, Matt puts up 130, and I had to score 167 to pull out the victory.
That's the equivalent to getting rivered.
Yeah.
In poker, basically.
I felt bad, but at the same time, I was pretty hyped.
You didn't feel bad. Give me a break.
I didn't really feel bad.
You gotta take the win. I mean, I wouldn't have felt bad. But I did mention at the casino that if you wanted to split the halvings at that time when I was up by 20 points, I would. But I just want to
I had faith. I had faith.
You had faith.
So here's the question, the big question: Are you going for the chop, or are you going for the full load?
Fuck no, I'm not going for the chop. Have you seen Turpin's team that I'm playing?
Smart guy, yeah.
Fuck no.
Yeah, it's.
So yeah.
Good luck. Good luck, I guess.
Speaking of Turpin, here's my finals opponent right here.
He keeps begging me to chop, but I'm not doing it.
Right.
Go shave.
That's fake news. Fake news. All right, we ready to get into a
playoff stash, bro?
Get out of here, Turpin. You don't want to be on the podcast anymore. You can't show up anymore then.
That's right. You done.
Do you really want anything that he has to say on this podcast?
What? I couldn't hear that.
I was just saying, dude, why are we worried about Turpin when he wouldn't even add anything to the show anyway?
Yeah, we're not. We're not concerned about that.
I mean, all right, let's roll.
All right, so let's get to our fantasy studs.
Fantasy studs.
Boom. First stud, this guy's been on absolute fire the last few weeks. I think he scored over 30 in 3 of the last 4 weeks, I believe. If not over 30, right? Close to 30. But this week, Ben Roethlisberger was 44 for 66, 506 yards, and 2 touchdowns.
Mercy. The dude. Okay, so I didn't get a chance to watch the whole game.
Oh, I watched the whole game.
I know you did.
I was very invested.
I know y'all had a little bit on the line. But I went back to watched some big. I was like, "Ooh, Big Ben highlights." This guy threw for 500 yards. It's like 8 minutes of 10-yard, 20-yard, 30-yard. Just tacking the Baltimore Ravens for just chunks, right?
Mm-hmm.
He looked good. Okay, this guy's looking good. He's coming on at the right time. Definitely coming online. This is whatever I drafted him. Late round draft, by the way. I expected to see from him all season. Didn't get it, but to the faithful, it looks like Mr. Roethlisberger is right in line with where he should be right now this time of year.
Hopefully you listened to me a few weeks ago when he was one of my trade targets for late season, my deep trade target. And if you traded for him and you've been starting him the last 4 weeks, I'm going to say you're probably in a championship.
I was going to mention that. I knew someone said pick him up about 5 weeks ago or 4 weeks ago, whenever it was for the playoff push. I can't remember who it was. I got to give it to you. Good call on that one.
Yeah.
And I also looked at 30 points in the past. He's had three games in the past 4 where he's had 30 points in a fantasy.
Yeah, that's my exact quote, I think, 3 minutes ago. Thanks, Matt. Thanks for listening.
I thought you were asking a question.
No, I already said that. Oh, I was pretty sure. He is now the only quarterback in NFL history to have 3 games over 500 yards. He just airs
Say
it
that
out.
one more time.
Only quarterback in NFL history with 3 games of over 500 passing yards.
Wow, that's kind of crazy. I would have never guessed
Yeah.
that.
It's cray-cray.
Cray.
Did you know
All right,
he's
next
the only
quarterback.
to have over 3 games with 500 passing yards?
Nope, that's something new. Just heard that.
Shit.
Next quarterback. This is a shout out to our missing member tonight, Britt. Fuck you.
Jay.
Dak Prescott, 20 of 30 for 332 yards and 3 touchdowns. Finally coming back to what we saw kind of. This was his first big game since Zeke went out, I think. I mean, he had a couple weeks in a row there where he put up less than 10. So
Last week he looked okay. This week he looked pretty good. He was making some high difficulty passes with tight window passes. It was just on point. This was against the Giants who looked like they kind of maybe or phoning it in a little bit.
right.
But, Dak's looking like a little bit of a better option right now, right?
Well, it's nice to see you going. If you have him and somehow you made it into the championship game, you have to be feeling pretty good now.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they weren't looking. It was a pretty close game up into the 4th quarter. That's when he did most of his damage to begin with, and you got to feel good going with him, and especially Zeke should be coming back soon. Rod Smith looks good.
Ethan,
He
the wait's
will be
almost
coming
over,
back
Ethan.
Oh,
The wait's
shit.
almost over.
It's almost there. Oh,
You made the championship, right? In your league with him.
You better believe it, baby.
So if you
better
just
believe it.
survive, if you keep it within shouting distance after week 1,
That's all I'm trying to do, baby. Just keep it close. If Zeke's gonna come in, it's gonna be championship.
is that game at Seattle or at home? In 2
I
weeks.
believe it's at Seattle. Could be totally wrong though.
Either way, that Seattle defense, nothing now.
One week at a time. 1 week at a time. Okay.
Yeah, I know, but you can't say you haven't been looking forward to this. For
I've
6
been
weeks.
looking. I look and I see. Oh, okay, all right. No, it'll be all right. Zeke's hungry. He wants to taste that W.
Question for you though: do you have Rod Smith right now?
Me?
Which we'll talk about later, but I just wanted to. Are
Or
you?
just in general?
Yeah, well, you have Zeke, but do you have Rod Smith stashed just
No.
in case Zeke comes back and gets hurt?
No. Just in case Zeke comes back and gets hurt. No, man. This is.
Nah,
it's
man,
ride
we
or
ain't even
die.
thinking about that, man.
It's ride or die. Okay. Look, we got one. Look, we got week 15.
Even if he gets hurt, at week 16 is the only week he's
That's
going to be
true.
back for
Week
playoffs.
16.
So if he gets hurt, then
That's it. Okay. That's it. It's time for glory. Okay. This is where the big dogs come and eat. All right. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna get to week 16, keeping it close, and then we're gonna eat. All right. Just calling it right now. Michael Cade.
is that?
Yes.
Oh, is that who you're playing? You're playing Mike?
Yes. My boy Michael Cade v. Ethan Hargrave. I mean, you get to the championship 4 out of 6 years. That can't be luck, right? Right?
Huh.
I'm just saying. I mean, the opposite, the argument to that would be Turpin getting into the championship.
That was all luck for that.
But
I'm
yeah, we
going
can move on.
I'm going for my 3rd trophy, so going
We
pretty
can
good.
good stuff.
discuss real quick. Maybe have a little conversation of whether or not fantasy is luck or skill, if y'all want to.
I mean, I would say for people like us, it's definitely skill because we put in. No, I'm serious.
Of course.
People, I mean, we put in the background work and checking out stuff all the time. I mean, there's people that just go through, and they'll check their lineup once a week to set it, and that's it.
I'm gonna say that it's a lot like Texas Hold'em. Actually, I'm gonna say that it's about 30% skill, I guess, for lack of a better term, about 70% luck. But
I mean,
you
you're
have to put
making-
yourself in a position to win, right?
You're making educated guesses, so it's still
Yeah.
it's based on luck, but there's definitely some skill involved.
It's like stock speculation, pretty much. It's all
That's
you're
what I was
sorta.
gonna mention. I've actually read an article about fantasy football and
Le'Veon Bell is the
stock,
Bitcoin
picking.
fantasy football.
God damn.
the jab, man.
I mean, I agree, but
What's up, Andy?
we can have a Bitcoin
Wanna get on
stream.
No. I wouldn't know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Oh, I didn't want you to talk.
Oh, okay. No, I'm good.
You can poke your head in.
No, I'm good.
Hannah, how do you
All
feel
right,
about
anyways.
Dak Prescott this week?
How do you feel about
He
Dak
looks
Prescott
like
this week, Hannah?
Don't give a fuck.
She don't give a fuck.
All right, sit him. You heard it here first. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. He's actually looked good.
Raw.
Going back to Dak Prescott. He's
She
looking
said,
better
she said
now.
don't talk shit.
We're not talking shit.
All
All right,
right.
we can move on.
But yes, I agree. There is definitely a lot of luck involved, but it's based on a lot of skill. Just, I mean,
It's a
but
mixture.
it's a mixture.
Yeah, for people who say that it's total skill, I think they're wrong. For people who say it's total luck, they're usually just salty losers. Okay, let's get that straight. You have to put in the time. If you put in the time and the effort, you do your research, then you'll have a higher chance of having better results.
Right. But just like with anything, the luck comes in because, like, I would say that I put in a lot of time and thought into fantasy football. In my other money league, my first 2-round draft picks were David Johnson and Aaron Rodgers.
Ouch.
So
That's
I
what
kind of had no chance there. That's the luck.
But see, you can recover from that.
I did recover. I still had a decent team. It's just
See,
you can't. It's hard to lose your two best players.
I mean, I had Jordy. Jordy was a total ghost. I lost Zeke for 6 weeks. Coming back to me, Zeke. Okay, and I'm doing okay. I'll tell you this right now. My roster is full of guys I picked up off the waiver wire right now, except for Gronk, and that's pretty much it. Come on.
Yeah, if you work the waiver wire good enough, you can definitely make up some ground by drafting bad.
Matt, do you have the NFL schedule pulled up for this week?
I do. What would you like to know?
Well, we have a question on the text line from
Okay.
Blake, who says he needs to know which defense to start this week, Minnesota or the LA Rams. Can you tell me those matchups? Because I'm kind of blanking on this.
I'll tell you right now, Minnesota's playing against
the
Cincinnati.
Bengals. Correct.
I'm actually starting the Vikings in my championship match this week.
I'm
Vikings
actually,
defense.
yeah.
The Rams are playing who?
Rams are playing at Seattle.
Yeah, you got to go Minnesota, no doubt. Minnesota's a top 5 defense this week.
Yeah, at home against Cincy, who I think they're phoning it in too. You know, Dalton's looked okay, I guess. Is Mixon coming back this week? Does anybody know?
I don't think it really matters.
They had what's his face?
Bernard.
Shut down corner Xavier, right?
Xavier Rhodes.
Yeah, homeboys locking people down. So you take AJ Green out of the equation, pretty much. Let's just go ahead and say that. And who are they going to be throwing the ball to? You know,
Me.
I just don't
Brandon
see it.
LaFell.
Brandon LaFell.
I mean, the Bears just put up a pretty good week for their defense against them. So, and I'd say Vikings are a better defense. So the Bears aren't bad either, but I'd much rather ride with the Vikings D the way they've been playing than the Rams.
The Rams have a good defense, but the Eagles just destroyed them. And Seattle's going to put up points. They're going to score. Yep. Russell Wilson's going to lead a few touchdown drives just on his own. So
may put up a goose egg the first 3 quarters, but
he'll end up with about 30 points. So
exactly. Yeah, they'll end up with about 30 points playing Madden.
So go with Minnesota defense. I feel pretty good about it. All right, speaking of Philadelphia, our last QB stud, the MVP, maybe he was the MVP front runner, but Carson Wentz. He was 23 of 41, 291 yards with 4 touchdowns. Didn't even finish the game. Great performance to go out on the season, but keyword there was he went out. He is done with the torn ACL, and it kind of sucks. It really sucks if you made it to the championship with him as your quarterback, because that was one thing you probably thought you didn't need to worry about. Now you're out searching for a QB.
The more blood sacrifices for Josh Gordon. But
Josh Gordon was back, though. The sacrifices were over.
Dude, he's getting power still, okay? He's getting power.
Been a long day
I'm in silence.
without you, my friend. And I'll tell you all about it when I see you again.
R.I.P. Carson.
Come a long way.
Yeah, that sucks for the Eagles. But you know,
Oh
Sucks
my
for the
God.
Eagles in real life football, and it sucks for all his owners in fantasy football. But if you don't talk about the Eagles for a minute, they do have a competent backup. Nick Foles he's a top 5 backup in the league, I'd say. So
Yeah, he could actually start for a couple teams like the Browns, throwing it out
and
there.
the playoffs are going to be so wide open that Nick Foles and the Eagles could still make a run. They still have a complete team. They got everything. He has tons of weapons to work with. So
Yeah, he's just got to kind of manage the game. So if you're a Philly fan,
really sucks because Eagles have never won a Super Bowl, and I mean this was looking like it might have been the year.
Yeah,
so.
it may still be the year.
It may still be the year, but definitely took a hit.
From a fantasy standpoint, I had Carson Wentz on 2 of my teams, and not looking good right now, fellas. Not looking good. But
who do you think this hurts and helps, or if it helps anyone? I don't think it helps anyone really, but who do you think it hurts the most for the Eagles? It actually could help people though. Some players.
I think
it's gonna hurt Zach Ertz the most.
Really?
Yeah, maybe.
Foles is still going to target Jeffrey and Aguilar as he did at the end of that game, but I don't know. Wentz just leaned on those tight ends so much. Ertz was a top 3 tight end, and then you even saw this game with him out. Burton scored 2 touchdowns with Wentz in there, and I just don't think Nick Foles is going to target them as much.
Shit, Selleck scored a touchdown, didn't he?
Selleck scored a touchdown too.
Game,
yeah. We'll have to see. Maybe the running backs get a bump a little bit.
So as I mentioned, I think
Which one?
Well, after Foles came in, Jai did get 8 touches compared to his 6 in 3 quarters when Wentz was playing. So maybe they start going Jai more.
His touches have
more
been
Jai, less Clement, because with Wentz out there, they threw Clement out there a lot. They were giving him a bunch of dump offs.
What they might end up doing is tailoring the offense around Foles a little bit better. So it's something to watch, but it's unfortunate that we don't have a week really. We're in the playoffs now, right? So we really don't have a week to sit back and watch how things develop. This is where you might have to take a little bit of
got to make decisions on the fly.
Yeah.
Don't forget that 7 touchdown game for Foles back in the day.
I will not forget that because I had him in my lineup that day. Peyton Manning was on a bye week, and I put up like 170 in my league. Feels good. Feels good.
So he's definitely a quarterback you could start if you need to, especially in the number 2 offense in the league right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's just
a streamer.
It's just taking him down a peg, but there are much worse options. But we'll talk about that later, I guess.
All right, let's go to our running backs. And this guy's having a sneaky last few games. He's kind of back. Didn't do anything beginning of the season. Had the rookie running back coming in trying to steal his job. Jonathan Stewart, 16 carries for 103 yards with 3 touchdowns. I mean, if you look at his last 3-4 weeks, he's been very solid. And is this a guy that you can stick in your flex for the playoffs?
Flex play? I agree with the flex play. Even if you're desperate, running back.
The thing is, though, if you're still alive in the playoffs, you probably have someone better in your RB2 spot.
Yeah,
I agree with that. I've always thought he's been the best running back on that team. And McCaffrey has the most talent, but he doesn't run between the tackles very well. He gets a lot of catches, so he's obviously going to get you a decent floor with that. But it's pretty obvious by now Stewart is the goal line back that's going to get you the touchdowns.
Definitely a guy that if you stuck out there in the flex, you wouldn't feel bad about it.
No.
I think. Ethan doesn't seem sold on it.
I mean, I'm just not sold on him 100%. I just feel like he's a major league lotto ticket. And I mean, he looked good against. I mean, he did well against the Vikings, but I think
there's a truck alarm going off outside. Let me make sure it's not mine. Y'all keep talking.
Burglary in progress. But I mean, some weeks it seems like they just don't even pay attention to him. So
he hasn't gotten he's only gotten less than 10 carries in 1 game this year, and McCaffrey I think's only gotten more than 10 carries in like 3 games. So it's pretty obvious when they're running the ball, they're giving it to him.
I think in standard he's
been scoring the
okay.
touchdowns late. Yeah, standard.
I think he's
PPR,
okay
you're
in
going with
standard.
McCaffrey.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
In PPR, I'm definitely not touching him.
There's a false alarm. I think it's fucking Santa on the fire truck coming down the street.
Santa's coming to see you. What do you want for Christmas? Oh wait, don't answer that.
I want to win fantasy.
Yeah, that's all I can.
Oh, look who's in chat. Old Britt Crawford decides to join chat.
Oh,
Britt, you got any fantasy questions, you dumbass?
He just says McCaffrey is better than Stewart.
McCaffrey? Is he a furry?
Yeah, it could be. That's probably that's probably why he quit the podcast, to be a furry.
All right, let's go to our next stud running back. This guy did all this on 11 touches of the football. 6 carries for 47 yards and 1 touchdown. 5 catches for 113 yards and another touchdown. And that was Rod Smith getting his last couple games in before Zeke comes back. What do we think about that?
I'll let the Zeke owner talk here.
I mean, it's good to see they're holding, keeping the spot warm. Good job, guys. About time. It was against the Giants, man. Alfred Morris was getting some work early, and it seemed like Rod Smith just broke a couple. I'm not too hype on Rod Smith.
Big playability, though. I mean,
yeah,
he's pretty electric when he gets the ball.
I mean, fourth quarter looks like the Giants just kind of gave up a little bit. And really, what happened? I mean, I think he's okay, but I'm just not too hyped on murky backfields. So it's like, okay, are they going to give Morris the ball, or are they going to give Smith the ball here? You know what I mean? So like, it's kind of up in the air. Not a big fan, but having said that, he's doing an okay job.
Yeah, Morris out-touched him, but I always feel weird saying that, out-touched him, but he did out-touch him 22 to 11. And I was looking up the contracts just because I was curious on what they were going to do next year. Obviously, Zeke's going to be the starter next year, but backup-wise, and Morris is on his last year with the Cowboys, so maybe they give Rod Smith a little bit more carries just to see what they have out of him. Why not? I think their chance to make the playoffs are pretty slim. They need to win out and have a bunch of teams lose. So they might just end up, this next week figuring out what they got in Rod Smith. I don't feel safe starting him, but if you have to, it might be worth it.
All right, and then the last running back is Le'Veon the Undertaker Bell. He had 13 carries for 48 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also added 9 catches for 77 yards and a touchdown. And he single-handedly ended Matt's fantasy season. That's that number 2 overall pick coming through in the clutch.
Yeah. This is what you got Lev Bell for. This is why you drafted him.
Why we got him. When you got him down to that Sunday night game and you need a 30-pointer, you think, it's all right. I got Le'Veon Bell.
I got him on one of my fantasy teams too. Feels good. I'm not facing him. I'm happy I'm not facing him in the playoffs. Feels good. I will say that it seems like the passing game has really been his what am I trying to say here? It's really put him over the top this year, right? Where I think it was kind of like a secondary thing for him. It's almost like even, right? He only put up like 45 yards.
Yeah, 48 rushing yards, 77 receiving yards.
And he has over 100. Yeah, I mean, he had over 100 from the scrimmage, right? But I mean, that's what makes him so tough to handle. Really.
I'm not gonna lie. When he got hit in the knee in the second quarter, and he came up for those few plays, I was like, "Oh shit, this is not good."
Yeah, I thought he was done. I was like, "Oh."
And I was searching Twitter. I was searching Twitter 24/7, like seeing what everybody's saying. Of course, nobody that knew anything was tweeting anything, but every fan was just like, "Oh, Carson Wentz and Le'Veon Bell done on the same day," and I was like, "Oh shit."
Yeah, when I saw it happen, it looked bad, but it did look like a hyperextended knee. Like his foot wasn't pointing in the ground when it happened; it just looked like it bent his knee a little back. So I hate to wish injuries, but I was, I was like, just rest up this game. Rest up this game. You can come back next game.
Okay, here's a question: Is he your number one pick next season?
For me, no.
You're going with Zeke.
I like Zeke. I like Kamara.
Oh, I don't know. Kamara.
I don't think I can take anybody over Le'Veon Bell. I can't do it.
I'll tell you why, because I was thinking about this too. Le'Veon Bell, he's looking like he's coming on the other side of the hill right now. He really does. He's been carrying the load. He's been taking a full load. Here carrying the ball more than anybody has this entire season. And usually whenever you get you're carrying the ball that much, and we're just talking about the touches that he gets on the ground, right? And that's not even counting the touches he gets in the air. So that's a lot of abuse on a back like that. Now, having said that, you got freaks like Adrian Peterson who were able to kind of sustain a high level for a while just because they're physical specimens. He may be one of those guys, but he's had knee problems. I know he's had at least one knee surgery, if not two.
Yeah, he got knocked out a couple of seasons ago with the knee.
Yeah. So you just got to think about this. He's starting to wear down a little bit. Really, and is he going to be with the Steelers next year?
They're going to have to keep him.
I'd imagine so.
They'll find some way to sign him.
He goes number one for sure. I'm thinking he's the overall consensus number one pick, I think.
I guess more of the discussion is because you can make the argument, but I think you have to say Ethan Bell would be your number one pick.
Just me. I'm taking Zeke, number one.
All right, then I'm going to invite you to our league. I'll get the number 2 pick again. You can have Zeke, and I'll take Bell.
All right.
I don't think Zeke's a bad pick either. It's going to be between them two, I think.
You taking Zeke over Gurley?
Next year?
Zeke over Gurley.
Yeah.
Yes. The year after that, I'm taking Gurley.
Is Gurley your number 3?
I think Gurley, you can make an argument for Gurley being in the top 5 picks.
An argument? He's the number 1 running back.
This next year,
I know,
5 running backs are going number 1 or top 5.
Top 5. Oh yeah.
There could be a scenario where you get somehow. It could be possible that Antonio Brown might be the only wide receiver that you want to. You got Hunt. Somebody might take a shot on some of these guys. So I'm just saying, it's going to be back to a running back heavy drafting versus what we've seen, kind of like a mix / wide receiver heavy.
You'll have David Johnson coming back. He didn't have a leg injury. He had a wrist. So that doesn't concern me at all. And
you got guys like Kenyon Drake. Now I'm not saying he's a number 1 pick or anything or should be in the first round, but the dude's popping off. He's looking good.
You got Devontae Freeman, who's still young, who was hurt most of the year. He'll be a top pick. You got Kamara coming on. You got, Shady McCoy's still there. I don't know if he's a first rounder, but he's there.
Ingram's showing some life, dude.
Ingram
looking good.
There's
so many strong running backs out there, so it's hard for me to say that. I can see where you can make an argument
Fournette.
for. You got Fournette.
Dalvin
Cook will be back.
You can call me crazy for saying that Lev Bell's may not be number 1, or I wouldn't take him number 1, but you can make an argument for about 4 of the dudes being number 1.
This next year, you're going to be in a lot better shape if you have a late first round pick than you were this year. Because I felt like this year, if you didn't have, if you didn't get Bell or Antonio Brown, the rest of those first rounders, unless someone took Zeke in the first round, they didn't show up.
See, I thought I was being smart too because I took Jordy because he was like a surefire. At least I figured I could get like a nice 10 points probably on average every week out of him. And then I took Zeke second round, which everybody thought, well, you're fucking nuts. But you have to have that kind of a talent somewhere on your team, and
you have to have a guy that can single-handedly win a game if he needs to.
Basically, yes, and I believed in myself to be able to manage my team well enough to get to the point to where I'd be able to use them. And, things didn't turn out the way I wanted them to, but hey, I made the championship.
That's all you can
You
ask.
made it. I made it. So I just gotta seal the deal. Anyways,
Matt, did you not like my Le'Veon Bell nickname?
Did I not hear it? I don't know. What was it?
The Undertaker?
No, I shook my head at that. I didn't want to respond to it because.
Oh, okay. I was just checking.
I got it. You know, I just.
Oh, okay. I was just making sure you got it.
You put me through
the
some
dude's still on
PTSD there.
suicide watch. Okay.
Yeah, come on, man.
Hey,
Don't be bringing that up.
He's gonna easily win third place and get his money back. He'll be fine.
You know, you never know. Somehow Austin made it to the championship. Oh, whatever. I'm being salty now. Let's move on.
Salt mines.
Just for those that were wondering, me and Matt each scored 100 more points than the other two playoff contenders. But somebody had to win, somebody had to lose. Sorry, Matt.
Disgusting.
That's why fantasy, you know, it makes relationships and it breaks them.
Is that what they say?
That's what I just said.
Okay.
So, yes.
That's why I married my wife.
Fantasy football?
Yes. She was like, in 2013, she goes, take Peyton Manning in the second round. They're going to laugh at you. But he'll lead you to the promised land. After I won that trophy.
You knew right then.
I knew right then.
She was the one.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to our stud wide receivers real quick, and we're not going to spend too much time on these because it's the number 1 and number 2 running or wide receivers. But DeAndre Hopkins, 11 catches for 149 yards and 2 touchdowns, all with most of that with TJ Yates throwing to him. And Antonio Brown, 11 catches for 213 yards. I mean, this was just business as usual. They're far and away the 2 best receivers this year, and it's not even close.
Speaking of top picks next year, D-Hop is just looking QB proof.
Is he a first rounder next year?
I think he has to be.
Gotta be.
Antonio Brown.
Well, I mean, we just talked about 12 running backs, and then you throw in Brown and Hopkins. Who's getting left out?
He's in the conversation for sure.
There's
I
enough
don't know.
for them to make it.
Here's the thing: in our league, somebody's going to take Deshaun Watson in the first round.
I know that.
Because we are H-Town. Somebody will take him.
And then you got at least one taco in there.
So somebody's getting bumped out of the first round.
And there'll be consensus. Like if you average out all the drafts together, they're going to be right around probably late first round. I don't know about Antonio Brown. He's probably still going to be early.
What about this strategy? So we've already talked about that next year is going to be running back heavy. There's going to be so many good running backs.
Strategies right now because I
I'm
wanted
just
to
talking.
say that for off season.
What if you had the 9th or 10th pick and you went a Hopkins Watson little duo there?
That's a strategy though. Going no RB.
That's a no RB strategy. But I'm saying next year, if you went no RB, you'd still be in pretty good shape because there's so many of them.
I can't justify
this year if
drafting
you
a
went no running
quarterback
back,
that
you're
early.
kind of fucked. But that Hopkins Watson duo
Stack.
is deadly.
That's a good stack, right?
When I won the championship my last time, I went Stafford and Calvin Johnson, and that was pretty brutal. They were that was Calvin Johnson's. I think the year he put up like 1,900 yards or something. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Come back, Calvin.
Antonio Brown, he might be breaking that.
Maybe.
I just stacking quarterbacks and wide receivers I don't like because, yeah, when they do good, you're going to win. But when they do bad, it hurts your team just as bad. So
Yeah, but if you get a quarterback if you go Rodgers and Nelson, or if you were to go Watson and Hopkins, or, if you got – well, it's not really working with anybody else, but – if you had Brown and Roethlisberger right now.
Well, right now, but Roethlisberger early in the year wasn't looking good.
Right. But
Right,
when they're going, they can single-handedly just win you the matchup.
Gordon Kaiser.
DFS, like if you're playing daily fantasy, then stacking is good for tournaments.
Yeah.
But if you're playing head-to-head, usually you want to spread out your points throughout different teams just because and there's many strategies with DFS, but I just don't like stacking. If Rodgers and Nelson are in the perfect spot to draft him, then take him. You're not going to just not draft a guy because you don't want to stack him.
Yeah. That's the awesome thing about drafts every year is, I'm getting pumped up just thinking about it right now. You never know.
Let's just
There's gonna
draft.
be one guy who takes that one dude that you didn't. You're like, no way, this guy gets taken in the second round, you know, and they take him, or they take somebody that you know. People have wacky strategies, and your plan gets kind of thrown into chaos a little bit, and you got to roll with it. You know, you got to adapt. And it's fun, right? Like it's fun. It's fantastic. Best day
Where
of the
does
year.
I was about to say, where does fantasy football draft day rank on your favorite days of the year?
It's up there, man. I actually look forward to it more.
I
than
really don't
Christmas.
look forward to anything more than that.
It
Honestly,
sounds stupid, but I'd rather
I'm always in charge of our league of getting everything prepared for it, and I feel like I'm already prepared and ready to go like middle of July. Just like let's fucking do
end
it
the
already.
season now.
No.
Let's start it.
Yeah,
like it's one of the it's one of the best days, if not the best day of the year.
I agree. It's a fun day. It's a fun day.
For in-person drafts.
Yes.
Offline drafts, not a big or online drafts. I'm not a big fan of it. I like the whole shit talking. Oh my
yeah.
god, I can't
You gotta have
believe
it.
you know, like people
Shotgun
looking
and
at-
beers before the picks.
Yeah,
all that
get wasted, okay? Get
Yeah,
wasted.
those that are doing online drafts, switch to offline. You'll have a much better time.
Yeah, it's like go to a Buffalo Wild Wings.
It's
you know,
it's an
just
all day
grab a little
affair.
steak.
It's
Yeah,
gonna take a good 3 hours to get through the draft, but it's worth it.
Yeah, kiss your wife and your kids or your girlfriend. Tell them to get lost. Give them a
Pack
couple
your bags.
bucks. Go hang out with the boys and have a blast, dude. Seriously.
And if
Offline
you're like
draft.
us, we always plan ours after the preseason, the Sunday before Labor Day, so everybody has the next day off, so everybody can just afford to have a good time. As I would
Yes.
say.
We can all agree on that.
All right. Any more hot button topics we need to discuss here before we get into the waiver wire?
Ready?
No, Hopkins and Antonio Brown are good.
Do we want to talk about Tom Savage and his concussion? Any?
We can do that now or later. Doesn't matter. We can. I mean,
Don't really care.
let's just roll with it now. The fact that he was even in the game after that, I don't know if many people. Oh, I don't know if people were watching the Texans San Francisco game to begin with, but
Probably not.
it's kind of a controversy now over the whole concussion protocol. I know y'all two probably saw it. I think
Yeah.
Tom Savage was
people
doing
are-
a robot after he got fucking hit on the ground.
People are mad at Bill O'Brien, but he had nothing to do with any of that. I mean, that's supposed to be those doctors. They obviously didn't care. Tom Savage didn't care. The referee was fucking staring at him. It was happening. He let him come back in the game. I mean, there's a lot of things wrong with what happened.
Is
Yeah,
it
it's-
wrong though?
I mean,
The
he was
guy
pretty fucked up.
obviously. Okay, look. I mean, I've played sports for a majority of my life. I actually got a concussion in basketball one year in junior high. Right, my head hit the bleachers when I was diving for the ball. I took a couple minutes off. I get back in. I scored like 12 points. Like, you know.
Yeah, but
I go
that
get checked out
explains things
later.
now. You know?
Okay.
All right, finish your story.
Okay. So after the game, I go get checked out. I had a concussion, right? Like, it wasn't a big deal. You know, high school football, you get snot bubbles, you get, you black out a little bit, whatever. You know, I wanted to play football. I didn't care. I knew what I was doing, right? Like, people,
Yeah,
they know
but-
what they sign up for. They want to play. They're not spinning the whole. And if they don't want to come back in after that, this is how I feel about it, right? If they don't want to come in after that because they're worried about their safety, I get that. But some people understand that, what the consequences are and still want to play. You know,
Look, you
And
can
you
make
got-
the argument that they're not in the right state of mind after that happens.
okay.
Also,
I
the
guess you
problem
can
with this is that the NFL is so adamant about going through concussion protocol. You can't.
This
play with
was
concussion.
this was a week after the Pittsburgh massacre, whatever you want to call it,
Oh
from
god, yeah.
the game
Yeah.
before.
I mean,
Look,
Yeah.
I'm not big on one. Like, I'm just now in this day and age, just the way they're so hard on concussions and everything. I mean, your story, you're talking about late '90s, early 2000s, Ethan, where no one even knew the repercussions of that stuff.
I mean, you got to think about. I mean, this is all just image. They're just trying to make their image look better for what? You know,
It's
Oh,
just
I
those
agree with
damn
that.
libtards, you know, just
Yeah, I was gonna-
taking everything too
Amen,
seriously.
brother.
man.
but seriously, and think about this from Bill O'Brien's perspective. He's an NFL head coach. Maybe he should have had his pulse on what where Savage was, you know, in his state of mind a little bit better. But he has. I'm just guessing that he has so much on his plate at that time. He doesn't have, you know, he's not a doctor, right?
Oh yeah, I'm not faulting Bill O'Brien at all.
So, I mean, I guess you could have said, well, let's just hold you out a little bit. It looked kind of funny on the big screen. Take a seat. We're going to put TJ Yates in there anyways, who should be in there anyways.
I mean, it might have been a positive for the Texans. TJ Yates is the better quarterback. So
Yeah, obviously.
we can all agree on that.
Yeah, it just seems like he's just kind of playing favorites, if you will. But
Tom Savage ran back in there because he knows that if he comes out, he's not coming back in ever.
Yeah,
He's done.
And that's a reason to hold people out too, is because you don't want people being stupid. But you know, I feel like this is becoming an overprotective mom situation, basically, in the NFL, where
I think some of them are, but like for that one though, you could visually see that he got knocked the fuck out and he was convulsing there a little bit.
Okay, but how do you feel about Kamara? Let me ask Matt. How do you feel about Kamara?
Kamara, get back in there, man. No.
Okay, the dude gets a little rocked. He goes to the sidelines. Okay, on his own power, right? It's not like he was laying there on the ground. He wasn't twitching, doing the T-Rex. Okay, like
it just proves that the NFL has no fucking clue what they're doing with concussion protocol. If one guy can have a seizure on the field and go back in the next play, and then one guy runs off the field under his own power, going fucking 0 to 60 in 5 seconds.
It's all arbitrary,
and he can't come back in the game. It's so dumb.
And then you remember Russell Wilson like 2 weeks ago against the Cardinals gets lit up. He's put in concussion protocol for about 0.01 milliseconds, and gets thrown right back into the freaking game. Like, oh, everything's fine. Nobody's stopping the game. Right?
Yeah. It's all about
Just
making their image
no,
better. Like
no consistency.
Zero consistency. So I'm just going to say, let's be consistent. Let's have some transparency, because as fans, I don't, you know, I want to know, okay, if this guy is down for this long or whatever, like what's it going to take for this guy to get out? Why is this guy out? You know, or damn, this guy was out for this long on the ground, like Tom Savage. Savage was on the ground spazzing out. Why this? You know, the rule is if he's down for 3 seconds or longer, you know, just throwing that out there, 4 seconds or longer, he needs to come out and go straight into protocol and for at least a quarter or whatever. You know what I mean? Like there has to be some kind of standardization of what's going on if you're going to do this.
I agree with that. They just need to get their shit straight.
Don't know what the answer is right now, so
They'll figure it out, hopefully. We can move back to fantasy now.
Yes, let's please do that.
all right, let's get into the waiver wire here. First name on the waiver wire. If you were a
waiver claims.
If you were a Carson Wentz owner and you're looking to stream a quarterback for your championship, I've got the deal for you right here.
Uh-oh.
Tell me the deal.
He is the starting quarterback He's the starting quarterback on a 9-4 football team.
Ooh.
He has scored over 18.9 fantasy, at least 18.9 fantasy points in the last 3 weeks.
Oh, keep going.
He also faces the vaunted Houston Texans secondary this week.
What? I got to pick him up. Who is this guy?
Blake Bortles.
Oh, never mind.
He is your quarterback this week.
He's the quarterback to pick up, is what you're saying?
I'm saying if you were a Carson Wentz owner and you don't have a backup on your bench, Blake Bortles is your best option. Tell me I'm wrong.
So he is playing against the Texans.
Yep.
Okay, check.
Check. Next.
Jacksonville has looked like they've been trusting him a little more, throwing the ball. They're not just pounding.
What I don't understand as a Leonard Fournette owner is they let Blake Bortles fucking throw the ball almost 30, 40 times every single game.
No.
Well, they're putting 11 people in the box.
they're still giving Fournette 20 carries a game, though. That's the good thing. Like, if you're a Fournette owner.
I want 30 carries.
Well, I don't know about that. You know, when you miss a team photo, you can't get 30 carries. That's the
Exactly.
rules. But it's
But I
just
mean, no,
their
Blake Bortles
defense
these
is-
last few weeks, he's looked good. Defense is giving him opportunities.
Exactly.
I mean, he's putting up 20 points this week.
You gotta like him this week just because the Texans.
Yeah, I definitely think, for sure, stream him this week if you have.
Okay, well, since we're talking about quarterbacks, would you rather Blake Bortles or do you pick up Jimmy Garoppolo?
Jimmy G's
That's a
going against
tough one.
Titans.
Titans also have not
At home?
a very good secondary.
At home.
They have a fantastic secondary.
I might
Top-
roll with Bortles
top
this
half.
week, honestly.
And then Bortles, after Texans, goes and faces the Niners, who TJ Yates just had a decent game
Which
against.
is why you're not picking up Garoppolo, because he has to face the Jaguars that week.
Jaguars.
So you might pick
So-
up Bortles here, but I think out of both of them, or if I had another choice, I'd rather pick up Foles.
Really?
I'd rather have Foles than them too.
I don't know how they're going to open up things, though. I mean, we talked about it earlier. Is it going to be a Jay Ajayi focused offense now, or are they just going to let Foles let it rip?
Well, you've seen Foles throw it in the past. Like, it's not that he's
Well, yeah, you have.
incompetent at quarterback.
But, I mean, they got three pretty decent running backs back there that they can, kind of.
Yeah, that's the thing. They have three. You don't know.
No, I'm not.
I don't think they
I'm
know
just
if
saying they
they're
have
going
so
with
many. Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got some pretty easy matchups, too, the next couple weeks. Then he has New York, right? And
Probably Dallas
it is
or
tough.
Washington.
Anyway,
I'd say it goes 1A, 1B with Foles and Bortles, and then Garoppolo behind them too.
I'm just saying, how awesome would it be if you're in the championship, you had Carson Wentz, and you fucking win the fantasy championship starting Blake Bortles in your two championship matchups.
yo, that's total BM, okay? That's like straight up. Like, oof.
He's definitely streamable, only because their defense gets so many turnovers that they give him a lot of opportunities with short fields to score touchdowns. So that's what you're looking for in a quarterback, I guess.
Yep. All right, let's go to
Once went down, pick him up, I guess.
Bortles. Heard it here.
Bortles.
You
I like
heard it
Bortles.
here first.
Running back. We've heard this name before. Kind of disappeared for a while, but Wayne Gallman had 99 total yards on Sunday. And this might be a little bit about what y'all were talking about earlier about teams kind of giving up and just seeing what they got for the future. Did they kind of let Gallman just see what he's got these last three games, see if he's worth anything for next year?
Are you asking?
I'm kind of asking, yeah.
Are you asking if you're having to ask this, and why do I want him in my freaking lineup?
I'm asking because I'm the fucking host of the show. I'm trying to get some responses.
I'm saying this. I don't want anything to do with the Giants' backfield. Period. You're not winning a championship with Wayne Gallman. If you do, text me.
Well, I mean, this is the waiver wire. If you're in the championship and you have to pick up a waiver wire, besides a quarterback, if you're planning on starting a running back, a wide receiver on the waiver wire, then that's not what this is for, because you're not in the championship starting a waiver wire running back or wide receiver.
There's other running backs on the waiver wire we have coming up that I'd rather have than Gallman.
I'm just gonna say hard pass on Wayne Gallman.
I can't even
Hard
remember
pass.
the starting running back's name right now.
Darkwa.
Orleans Darkwa.
Chamberlain.
Shame.
Keep going down the line.
Pinochle. Mr. Smith.
Brandon Jacobs, is he still there?
Peyton Hillis.
Peyton Hillis.
Just
Kiki Barber.
Derek Ward.
on to the next one.
Ooh. Let's roll.
All right. First wide receiver, Marquise Goodwin. And Jimmy Garoppolo's 2 starts. He has 14 catches for 205 yards. And I mean, he's looking like he's a guy you can put in the flex every week. He's getting the targets. He's getting the catches. He's a burner. He's getting the deep shots.
Daddy talked about this last week, right? Marquise Goodwin. I picked him up, threw him in there. No touchdowns, but he got me 11 solid points. He had 110 yards, something like that. He's definitely and he had a lot of had a couple of drop balls, little bit of miscommunication, but he looks like he's a solid wide receiver or flex option. He's the number one option for Garoppolo. There are much worse options out there.
So we're talking about Texans struggle against fast receivers, which is why Marquise Goodwin had a really good game against him. Brings us to our next wide receiver, D.D. Westbrook. He's been very solid since he came back from his injury. He is facing the Texans this week. We already talked about starting Bortles. I mean, D.D. Westbrook, he seems to be in for a big game if he's following the trend of his fast wide receivers before him.
Yeah. Like you said, if you're starting Bortles, then why not pick up Westbrook? He's gotten 10, 9, and 8 targets the past 3 games, so he's getting the looks. He's
taken over that Marquise Lee role as the Jaguars waiver wire receiver.
Is this the 200-yard?
Is it?
Oh, he's been calling for it, right?
He
did promise, and if it was against any team, why not the Texans?
There's got to be some kind of prop bet out there you can bet on that, right?
There can be a bet right now for another Whataburger.
Ooh, if he gets over 200 yards, you got to buy me 10 Whataburgers.
I'm still salty on that. Of course, Browns. Of course, the Browns. They can't even just give up a field goal. They got to give up a freaking touchdown.
So for those listening, if you remember from last week, we had me and Matt were on the Packers -3. Britt and Ethan were on Browns +3. Looked like they had it in the bag. Browns were up 14 late in the fourth quarter and that cover in overtime. So Browns are going to Browns.
Beginning of the game.
I told you, rule number 1 of betting: don't bet on the Browns. No matter how good it looks, it's not going to.
See, they were smart at first because they were going to Josh Gordon. And
I was about to say, now's the best time as ever since we haven't talked about him. But Ethan, why don't you talk about
the Lord and Savior? They strayed from the path.
Prophet Josh Gordon.
They strayed from the path. Don't stray away from the Lord, the Savior of your fantasy life.
That was pretty good.
That's your boy,
Josh Gordon.
I don't think he's on the waiver wire anymore, but if he is, pick that man up.
Pick him up.
When he scored that touchdown was in the first quarter, right?
Yeah, and it was actually a beautiful pass, but an even better catch.
After that, I was like, oh, my God, he's about to go off for 30 points, isn't he?
He had like 3 catches for like 63 yards and a TD in the first 5 minutes, and I'm sitting there going, yes, they finally got it. This is happening. The connection, it's the stars are everything's lining up perfectly, and then they, like I said, they strayed away from the Gordon. Why? That's what happens when you stray away from the Gordon.
40 days in the desert.
Too good, so they had to go back to Browning.
40 days in that's like Old Testament, bro.
Yeah.
We're in the New Testament now, okay? This is Jesus Gordon, okay?
I'm talking about – never mind. I'm not going to get into that.
Let's talk
40 days in the wilderness is a different one, too. The Bible likes 40. So.
Oh.
But anyways, due to Josh Gordon getting all the attention, segue into Corey Coleman, who is now being left open due to all the attention being paid to Gordon. Now, he scored a touchdown on Sunday, right? Am I making that up? I thought he did.
Let
me run the numbers.
And you know what? Crow didn't look that bad either.
Crow didn't look bad.
He didn't look that bad.
I told y'all going into the playoffs, he's not going to be that bad of an option.
Yeah, Corey Coleman had 62 yards and a touchdown.
So
that's right.
1 yard shy of beating Josh Gordon.
So yeah, I mean, you could do worse at receiver.
They are playing Baltimore coming up, and Baltimore, with the exception of last week,
have 506 passing yards.
Okay, but last week that's something I was thinking about. They lost their best cornerback, right?
They did.
So PEDs. So, was he the glue? I mean, was he like the Eric Berry, like how Eric Berry is? I know that Eric Berry is a safety, but when Eric Berry went out for the Chiefs, it was like, oh shit, like they just seemed lost, right? So is this that kind of a scenario for the Baltimore Ravens, or was just Big Ben just on a different plane.
I think
I
it's
think
a
that was just
mixture.
Steelers being Steelers.
Steelers playing at home. They always have these big games throughout the season. But Baltimore's defense has definitely taken a hit. So it's I don't know if you're starting the Browns wide receiver. Well, you're starting Josh Gordon, I think, for sure. Corey Coleman, I think it's a toss-up.
He could do worse.
Yeah,
Corey Coleman or Marquise Goodwin.
I'm taking Goodwin there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
good
me
one
too.
for
No,
sure.
that's a number
Yeah,
one over a number two.
Thanks, Titans. Got to.
All right, a couple running backs here. We got Kerwin Williams, who, if Peterson is still out, he's been getting the full workload there and been doing pretty decent with his chances he's getting there in Arizona. And then Mike Davis, who has 128 rushing yards over the past 2 games.
I actually
Looked
like the
pretty
way
solid.
that Mike Davis runs the ball. It's just
And I'm going to give Brittle a shout out here, but the game script didn't really go his way in Jacksonville, so that's why he didn't really put up the big numbers. Seattle was playing from behind, but I do like what I'm seeing out of Mike Davis, like you said, Ethan.
I like the way he runs the ball for sure. It's and can he stay healthy because he seems to be a little injury prone. So my only 2 questions, but
It's a tough one for me. I don't know if I'd actually pick up Mike Davis. You can't trust him in your playoff. If you're in the playoffs, I'm not.
Well, no, but
flexing
I
or
have him
anything.
stashed on the bench just to kind of have him. I've had him for a couple weeks now.
Might, if Peterson's not playing, I think I'd rather pick up Williams
Kerwin
for this
Williams.
1 week. Because Williams is getting as many carries as Peterson was. And so I was looking up rushing touchdowns for Seattle.
Mhm.
Guess how many rushing touchdowns they've had the entire year?
Probably
3.
like
With the
6, and
exception
they all came
of
from
Russell Wilson. With the exception of
Oh.
Russell Wilson. Throw out Russell
3 or
One.
2 or 3.
They've had 1.
And it was Mike Davis 2 weeks ago, right?
It
Or
was,
something like that.
I think it was McKissick, actually. I'm
Oh,
pretty sure it was McKissick. But Josh McCown has more rushing touchdowns than the whole Seattle team does.
Josh
That's-
McCown was another one who bit the dust this week.
That's true. We can.
R.I.P.
hold on
Man,
back
he
up.
was having career.
He
year.
was a top 10 quarterback.
Oh yeah,
Yeah,
he was
he's no
looking really
Carson
good,
Wentz,
man.
though.
Well, no, but that's why we didn't talk about him. But just a little shout out. When a top 10 player goes down, you got to give him a little something.
Yeah, that's true.
R.I.P.
Surprising he was a
dog.
top 10. So
R.I.P.
pick up
Broken
Petty.
hand.
R.I.P.
All right, next running back, Tariq Cohen showing up again. Any thoughts
can't
on him?
just-
Again, and you're not picking him up again.
You can't just come in, you show up, and then you ghost, you disappear, ninja vanish for freaking 7 weeks, and then come back into my lineup. Yeah, I mean, I don't dig it. No.
The
Jordan
only reason
Howard
he
was
was getting
good.
carries this week is because they were up. Like
So good.
Jordan Howard got more carries than he did. Like, well, I don't know about looked better, but he's obviously their bell cow running back, with the exception of third down. And Tariq Cohen's not been getting the receptions he was getting earlier in the year. So you're not picking him up.
So much has changed from that week 1 where you had to have Tariq Cohen and Kerwin Williams. I mean, you were rushing to get both of them.
Right. And now they're both showing up on the waiver wire again.
And what you should have done was picked up Kamara.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
some of us did that.
It's okay. It's okay, Marty. I'm gonna do it for us. Okay, Kamara's gonna do it for us.
Do it for me.
Yeah, he's going to
Kamara-
win him 3rd place.
We're gonna do it.
Hey, as long as we win the money, that's all that matters.
Yeah, as long as you get your money back.
I don't
Look
think
at
you're
this
picking up
goofy
Cohen.
son of a bitch. Tell me to go back to his hole.
Ethan said go back to your hole.
The thing with Cohen earlier in the year was that he was their best wide receiver on the team, with Mike Glennon throwing to him. And now they have Trubisky, and they traded for Inman, so Inman is now their number 1. And
Edmonds a
just not getting-
stud, man, you know? I mean,
Well, he's their best wide receiver. I don't know about
Big game player. It just blew my mind that they kept Cohen out of the game plan for receiving when he was clearly the most talented guy they had. They had a bunch of dudes that should have been working at UPS out there lining up, in the slot, and it's like, give me a freaking break. You can't put the most explosive player on your offense out there on the field for more than 20% of your snaps. Get out of here.
Well, and Miller went down too. He was also decent.
Yeah. R.I.P.
With the
leg.
disgusting, yeah, that was gross, but
R.I.P.
that was a
leg.
while back.
I mean, that's
Yeah, I have Rod Smith on the list. We already talked about him a lot, so we don't really need to get into him, but he's a good option to have, especially if you have Zeke, I think. And then last guy, if Zach Ertz is out again, I mean, Trey Burton is I think a top 10 tight end, right?
For this week? Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
I'm saying any week that Zach Ertz is out.
If you are a Zach Ertz owner, it would do you well to pick up Trey Burton.
He had 2 touchdowns this week.
They are playing the Giants this week.
Okay.
You know that trend that was earlier in the year where they were giving up touchdowns every single game.
How's that been working out?
Well, I think tight ends scored last week. They've given up 11 touchdowns in 13 weeks to tight ends.
Yeah, Jason Witten did score.
Jason Witten did score a touchdown.
So I'd say he's a top 7 play this week.
Top 7, huh?
Top 7, just because
Not 6, but 7.
I'll go top 5 if Ertz is in play.
I'd say he's about top 21.
21.
Thanks for giving me that chance to make that drop.
What's tight end 9 plus tight end 10?
21.
Oh, okay.
You stupid.
Yeah, he's a good stream option this week.
All right, that's about all I got on the waiver wire. In case y'all got a few more names. I mean, we're getting down to the nitty gritty here. We got, if you play a 16-week schedule like most fantasy leagues do, we got 2 weeks left. Hopefully, you're in that championship like me and Ethan are, trying to win that big prize. Even if you're going for 3rd place like Matt, you can still get some money.
Yeah.
I'll throw out a name that can actually. I can use this to answer a question as well that was asked on Instagram. I don't know if he's actually going to be on the waiver wire. If he is, I think you have to pick him up. But talk about Aaron Rodgers coming back possibly to play the Panthers. I think they said it's a 50-50 shot whether or not he plays this week. Do y'all think he's a must start if he plays against the Panthers?
I mean, if we just look in our league, which you have Aaron Rodgers, but you also have Russell Wilson. I don't think you're starting Rodgers over Wilson.
No, I'm not, but I kind of picked him up so no one else would start him.
I mean,
okay. So who are the quarterbacks that you would start over Rodgers no matter what? That'd probably be the easiest thing to do.
Let's say Cam Newton on the other side of the ball. Cam Newton against the Packers or Rodgers against the Panthers.
I mean, Cam Newton, he's turned around his season. I think you got to start Newton over Rodgers.
Okay. Drew Brees.
Wilson over Rodgers. Brady and Big Ben over Rodgers. Drew Brees.
Wait. Brady's put up like 19 collective points, maybe. In the past
Brady is
weeks.
pissed off. He's about to go off.
I think so. Good point. Yeah. Okay. No.
I think.
What do you say about Drew Brees, though?
That'd be an interesting choice if I had Aaron Rodgers because I'm a Drew Brees owner. I think I'd go
Rodgers there.
I just think I wouldn't, especially in the championship. I don't think I would risk it, and I'd play Brees.
Would you play Keenum?
No, I'd go Rodgers over Keenum.
I'm going Rodgers over Keenum. Saints are playing New York Jets.
Yeah.
At home.
Oh.
So I might go with
Brees at home versus the Jets. That's pretty juicy.
With the hungry Kamara.
Let's see, man. I don't know.
See, now I'm fine with him throwing all those dump offs to Kamara, unlike the last 2 weeks. So.
Oh yeah, I'm talking about fantasy in general, though. It's not always about your team, all right?
He had 3 points in the first drive of the half or of the quarter of the game. He was going to score 20 easy.
What about old Kirky Cousins? I'm guessing you're starting Rodgers over him.
Who are they playing?
They are playing Arizona.
I mean, to me, right now, I think he's a DNP. You know, do not play.
I think if you don't have a top 5 quarterback, you might start Rodgers here, especially if he's playing.
Yeah, there's an argument to be made. I'm just not. You gotta pick carefully here.
If he comes back, I think he's healthy enough. And they're in the playoff hunt as well. So
They have to win. So
they have to win, yeah.
See,
Yeah,
to me,
I think you got to start him, and
QB,
depending on your other quarterbacks.
if you're in a position where you don't feel comfortable at your QB, I mean, really, you don't need a guy who's just gonna. I feel like in week one, or where I'm at in the playoffs, the starting week of the championship, I don't need a guy to go out there and put up 30. It'd be nice, but I'll take 15, 20, right?
see, that's my thoughts
That's a
with
fair
Breeze.
point.
How about this? You have Rodgers, or would you start up Bortles with that juicy matchup?
Oh, I might. That's tough. I think I'd go Rodgers.
We saw Jacksonville just blow up Houston with the run game.
Bortles is more of a sure thing, as crazy as that sounds.
I don't know if he is there because they can always lean on Fournette, even though Texans do have.
They can, but they haven't.
Or they have.
They haven't lately.
They've given him 20 carries, or close to 20 carries the past few weeks now. It's just Fournette's not doing much with it. They're starting to stack the box, which I think why Bortles is having so much room to throw.
For sure.
No, it's a tough choice. I think you can't go wrong with either one.
I mean, really, I would think that Aaron Rodgers is going to come back hungry. I don't think that Carolina is exactly the best
matchup.
I don't think it's the best matchup, but I don't think that they're world beaters either. So I can see a scenario where he goes off for like 28, or maybe just puts up 21. Yeah.
21.
Yeah. This decision might be made for you too if Aaron Rodgers doesn't even play. So
yeah, that would be moot.
All right, I can.
Jordy Nelson. What about Jordy Nelson?
Jordy Nelson. I mean, if Rodgers plays, you have to. Well, I don't
because
know if you have to play Nelson.
He's on a lot of waiver wires right now. He's been hanging out, or he was on a lot of waiver wires because he.
I mean, if Rodgers plays, then Nelson's going to get the targets.
You got to think, is he? You got to start him, right?
If you made the championship, you've probably found someone decent enough to make the championship with. So I think you still might be running with him. Whoever that wide receiver is.
If you're a Jamal Williams owner, are you rooting for Rodgers too, or not to play?
I think you're rooting for him not to play.
Big time. Yeah. You saw how their running backs were decent while Rodgers was playing, but it seems like they got an extra boost once he went out.
Yeah.
Well, we can transfer to this next question with Jamal Williams in it. Would you play Jamal Williams against Carolina, Tyreek Hill against the Chargers, or Mike Evans versus Atlanta?
Mike Evans is reduced to this. I mean, shit.
I think I'm playing Williams here. I can't trust Mike Evans anymore.
Yeah, I'm going to say Hayward's going to be on Tyreek Hill. Mike Evans, I just don't.
For me, it's close between Williams and Evans for me.
Yeah, that was my.
I think Williams. I mean, if you want something solid, go with Williams.
Williams has a solid floor.
Yeah, I'd say you're going to get at least 8 points out of Williams, which
Mike Evans and Tyreek Hill can obviously go off for 30 at any time.
Yeah. Atlanta's been pretty tough against the pass as well. I think Trufont's back, so for the floor, I'd go Williams.
I'll agree with that.
Go to our another question. This is Standard League. I don't have the names written down, but it was an Instagram question. Go Marquise Lee versus Houston, Juju Smith versus New England, Crabtree versus Dallas, or Riddick versus Chicago. Standard League.
I like Crabs, I think, even though they've been looking like garbage.
I'm agreeing with you there. Crabs
Dallas looks like caca in their secondary.
It's between Crabtree and Riddick for me.
Riddick has been showing up.
Riddick got a touchdown on Sunday, right?
Up near
Yeah,
Abdullah.
2 touchdowns.
He had 2 touchdowns.
He only had like 30-something yards rushing though. He's more of like the pass catching back. And Abdullah might be coming back this week. I don't know.
They just need to get Abdullah out of there. I mean, they're both. I feel like they're kind of the same guy, except for Riddick's a little bit better. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of
Their running
situations
game
like that
hasn't
around
been
the
good.
league.
Yeah. If that's the thing, if it's standard, I think Riddick gets a little boost there. But I definitely think it's between Crabtree and Riddick. I'd probably go Crabtree if I had to pick.
I think with Amari Cooper out, Krabs is going to be getting, the boost on the targets.
Is Cooper for sure out?
So I'm sorry.
Is Cooper for sure out?
I believe so. I think it's something that needs to be monitored. But if he's for sure out, if he's going to be out for sure on come Sunday, you figure this out. I just gotta put Krabs in there. I really do. I like his upside against. I think it's a plus matchup against Dallas for sure.
All right.
Agreed.
Any more questions there, Matt?
Got one last question. We already kind of talked about Foles a little bit. We have 2 questions actually. Just go through this one really quick though. Do you trust Foles against the Giants this week?
Yes.
Yes.
I trust him.
Okay.
Do I trust him over somebody else?
Maybe not.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Depends on your quarterback, but he's a decent play this week. All right, last question. This guy has Ingram as his number 1 running back, Collins as his number 2, and he's looking for a flex. Does he go Kamara versus the Jets or Kenyon Drake at Buffalo?
What? Both of those should be starting over the other 2.
So you think? Well, then pick 2 or pick 3 out of those 4.
Okay, look, Kenyon Drake.
Collins has been fire though.
Kenyon Drake is going up against the Buffalo Bills, who's allowed more rushing yards than anybody else in the National Football League. So let's just go ahead and put him in there. Kamara is a freaking beast.
You can't ask about starting Kamara. You have to start him.
You just throw him in there.
Standard or PPR. If it's PPR, you're definitely starting Kamara and Drake.
Yeah.
I think.
Drake is actually a very good receiver too. He's not. I don't think he's as dynamic as Kamara, but Drake is actually very, very underrated as a receiver. And
then Collins the last couple weeks, he's had over 20 both weeks.
Yeah, it's a tough one. That's what I'm saying. Pick 3 out of the 4: Ingram, Collins, Kamara, Drake.
Last week when Kamara went out, Ingram didn't do much by himself.
Okay,
yeah, their offense
you got to think about
completely different.
Now you got to think about the matchup here between. It's going to be at home for the Saints, so it's going to be Saints Jets. The Saints secondary is pretty good, pretty darn good. Bryce Petty or Christian Hackenberg is going to be starting for the Jets. Let's ask yourselves that. Do we trust Petty to put up numbers on the Saints D?
No.
Do we trust? Okay, now there's another question. Do we trust Matt Forte to put up numbers or Balil Powell to put up numbers on the Saints?
No.
So we can assume that the Saints are going to be up quite a bit and running the ball quite a bit. Yes? So we can make a strong argument that Ingram is going to be a worthy play. That's what I'm getting at. I just don't see how you can go wrong with Ingram and Kamara.
Collins, though.
Ravens are playing Browns, who are a shitty team, but they actually have a decent run defense.
He's all the way up to running back number 14. He has 5 touchdowns the last 4 weeks.
It's a tough one.
That is a tough. I'm going to say I don't think you can make a bad choice.
Yeah, I'm just going to say that you have to have Kamara and Drake in there.
It's a good problem to have to where there's not a clear wrong decision to be made.
Yeah, it's even better that one of your opponents does not have any of these guys.
If it's PPR, I think I'm going Kamara, Drake, and then because I don't like starting 2 players in the same team, especially if they're playing the same position, I'll go Collins there.
I think that's my answer too.
But I think Kamara, Drake are number 1, 2, and then flip a coin between the next 2, Ingram and Collins.
You can make an argument for either and or, I think.
Yep.
But the main thing here is you have to play Kamara.
They have to.
Yes.
Can't sit that guy.
And you have to play Drake.
The way
Drake
Do it.
Drake's been looking good. That was the last question I had.
All right. It's a good time, boys. If you're in the championship this week, good luck. Hopefully you'll pick the right players and
Well, championship wouldn't
eat up
be
that
this
eat
week
up
for a
that
lot of-
W.
for most teams.
Matt, you gonna be eating the W for third place? Get that W out. There you go. Eating that
Eat
W.
What are you doing with your fingers, man?
I was eating that W, man.
Oh, yeah. What does it taste like?
Tastes like salt.
It tastes strong.
Tastes like salt because I'm still salty, man.
I thought you were gonna say it tastes like Whataburger. Whatever.
It will be, whenever we finally meet up for that. And don't think I forgot about you, Britt. If you're out there listening, you still owe me 2 burgers.
That's
Not
right.
at the same time.
Not at the same time. Unless you want to get me and Matt at the same time, but not each food.
that'll work.
You know what I mean.
Like tag teaming, you guys?
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that.
Yeah, I do have a couple
Get a
news.
3-way going?
Couple news things. Just throw out real quick. I'll just run through them. Patriots signed Kenny Britt for 2-year deal. Jordan Reed is on the IR. I think most
Surprise!
of us knew that was
Another
coming.
surprise.
Oh, didn't see that one.
And for anyone that's wondering, there's no Thursday night game. There is 2
But there are 2
games.
Saturday games.
I actually like the Saturday games. I think they're
Change
fun.
your lineups accordingly.
Yo,
Set your lineups accordingly.
Yo, doesn't
That's all I
Star
have.
Wars come out this?
Star Wars comes out Thursday night.
Ooh.
Even the NFL's avoiding Star Wars.
They're like, we can't
The Last
compete with
Jedi.
Star Wars. We gotta move
No
our games to
spoilers.
Saturday.
No spoilers.
Yeah.
Harry Potter dies.
Oh, shit.
Han Solo dies.
Okay, that was actually a spoiler.
If you don't know that by now, then that's your
Yeah.
problem.
And you can suck my dick.
All right, so that's it for Fantasy and Chill Week 15. Like we said, good luck in the championship if you're still alive. Maybe you're playing a 17-week schedule and you're trying to get to the championship this week. So either way, good luck. Maybe you're in consolation bracket and you're still trying to win some kind of consolation, or maybe you're just trying to not finish last place. Either way, pick the right guys. Hopefully you listen to our advice, and we will see you next week. We out.
Right me. I'm out.
Goes on, yeah, and the beat goes on, yeah, and the beat goes on.
Jello Beats, holla at me.
You stupid. You stupid. What's 9 plus 10? 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 You stupid. You stupid. You stupid. You stupid.